Hey guys, welcome back to Average Joe Rants. Um, Hell of a week. Hell of a week we've had, huh? Um, God, I'm so glad I don't live in Minnesota. Holy shit. I was thinking about it for a while after I got out of like kicked out of college, but yeah, now it's like I'm so glad I didn't make that decision. Ooh, buddy, we got a lot to talk about. I'm probably gonna make two videos this week. The first one's gonna be about what we're gonna talk about today, and the second one's gonna be it's gonna be about the recent shooting in Minnesota, essentially. But today I want to talk about something I meant to talk about earlier, but I wanted to wait for a little bit, and oh my god. I do forget the names of a couple of the people about in the situation I'm about to talk about. Obviously, one of the names I can't forget. You'll know why. But yeah. Let's talk about the church thing that happened. I should have talked about this a long ass time, like a few days ago, but I wanted to be sure I had all the facts I had before I made the video because it involves a right that, while I don't really agree with, it's something that I know is the right of every American, right? I just said right and talked about right. Just never mind. Sorry, I'm getting a little off track. And that is the right to religious freedom. Now, the reason why we have this right is because when we were under the British colonies, and even when we would hear about how certain religions were persecuted in other countries, um, we one of the things that we wanted to do was have the right of religious freedom, mainly because people would come over here to the what was the United British colonies. I'm saying United just so you guys know what the hell I'm talking about. But essentially, like the first 10 or 12 states, people would come over here. They'd have different religions, and they would get persecuted. They would get harassed over it, and all that kind of shit. So, one of the first things was yes, right of religious freedom. And the reason why and again, this was back when there wasn't really atheists. There was like Christians, there was Catholics, there was like it's a whole bunch of them. But there's also other religions as well. Mainly, this right was meant to protect those people. So, like, if you were a Native American and you were, you're like half Native American or whatever, you still have the right to practice your traditions and all that. It's sort of the reason why nobody really fucks with churches is because to do so would be to break that right. Did not stop the people who went to the St. Paul's Church, though, in Minneapolis. These motherfuckers. No, I'm not gonna try to even think about why they thought this was a good idea, because it isn't. Like I said, you don't fuck with churches. The reason why is because of the right of religious freedom. It's the reason why you don't go into a fucking mosque and start yelling out Allahu Akbar. It's a little fucking inappropriate, but more than that, it's incredibly offensive and kind of impeding on that right. You don't intimidate, and more than that, there's two laws that correspond to this right of religious freedom, because oh my god, there's been so many people who have thought, I guess, throughout the years, who have thought that, oh, we're just gonna fuck with this right, so they had to actually make laws to enforce it. That's how fucked up this is, people. There's actually Like, the right to bear arms? Well, this is the right to bear religion. And unlike the right to bear arms, they actually had to have laws to protect this fucking right. First one we're going to talk about is the Ku Klux Klan Law of 1817. Now, obviously, if you're not a absolute retard, you know what the Ku Klux Klan is. You know how they're pieces of human shit. They're racist. They're misogynistic. They're completely just piece of shit human beings. Yet somehow anybody who disagrees with Democrats automatically gets put in the same category as them. Figure that shit out. But anyway, basically this Ku Klux Klan Act was meant to protect African Americans, but obviously it is broadened to include all races, including white, Asian, white, Asian, like Caribbean, like wherever you come from, Middle Eastern, wherever you come from, you're protected in churches by this law. Basically, the thing about the law is that you cannot go into a church to intimidate. You cannot go into a church to cause trouble. You cannot detain anybody. You cannot threaten anybody. It's basically once you're in a church, you can't do anything except be in that church. You can pray, you can practice your religion in peace, and you won't really have to worry about anybody intimidating you about anything outside that church. Now, before we go over the ways these protesters did that, let's go over the second law that protects the freedom of the right of religion. That law is the FACE Act. What is the FACE Act? Well, if you can believe it, it didn't even protect religious institutions. It was meant, so when Planned Parenthood started to be a thing, they essentially said you cannot protest, basically the people started going into these places to protest them. To protest the practice of abortion. And obviously, much like what's going on in Minnesota, again, we're probably going to do the second video on that shooting. But the thing that's happening in Minnesota is, oh wow, I just I just whiplashed myself. Hold on. The thing about the FACE Act is, sorry about that. The thing about the FACE Act is that it was too narrow in order to be passed. Because obviously there's not a lot of Planned Parenthood clinics or abortion clinics, especially nowadays. But at the time, people wanted to get this passed, so they broadened it to include religious institutions. Essentially, you cannot protest inside of a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic or religious institution. And you could say that's sort of fucking with the right to protest. It really isn't. You're allowed to protest outside of the building. You're allowed to protest across the street from the building. Fuck, you're allowed to protest in the next building, inside of it, if it's not a religious institution or abortion clinic. So it's really not taking away the right to protest. It's limiting the places you can for the sake of there not being... It's like the same reason why you can't go inside the fucking governor's mansion and protest a law he passed. Because obviously as soon as because all it takes is one stupid person to fuck everything up. Right? So, these protesters go into the St. Paul's Church in Minnesota. They immediately start spouting shit about Renee Good. And, about the ICE and all that. And then they start giving shit to the churchgoers about how they should be protesting with them. That, my friends, is intimidation. They are screaming at these churchgoers. They are recording them for no reason. There's threats being thrown around, and and the churchgoers are intimidated enough that they leave the church. But that isn't where it ends. They go in, they start going in their cars, and they start being followed by people, just yelling at the people and all that, and that's about it. It's like they intimidated. They went into this. You cannot protest inside a church, so they did the FACE Act. They disobeyed the FACE Act. They cannot protest inside of a religious institution, and they disobeyed the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1817. You cannot intimidate a person inside of a religious institution. You cannot detain them. You cannot prevent them from going to church, which some of them did, because there were still people going to the church that were not allowed entry. And, of course, Don Lemon shows up, right? He shows up. Supposedly he had inside information that this was going to happen, which makes him a conspirator. And he should be charged the same way 2 other protesters were charged. The 2 protesters is obviously the leader of the protest. Her name's so fucking long, I didn't even want to fucking memorize it. And there's another person called Beard Meets Food. Supposedly. To be honest, the 2 guys look remarkably similar to the point where it probably is him. I don't know, though. But he is a streamer. He is a YouTuber. He has his own channel, he has his own TikTok, and all this shit. So, these 2 get arrested for disobeying the FACE Act and disobeying the Ku Klux Klan Act. Now, I don't know what happened. Obviously, I think they got arrested, they got detained for a few days, and they got a court date. Beard Meets Food. Again, I could be completely wrong about the dude. So I'm just going to call him Mike because that is his first name. I'm not going to call him Beard Meets Food because I have no idea if that's the same person or not. I've never even heard of the channel. It doesn't really seem like a political channel to me. So I'm not going to throw shade. Don't go to Beard Meets Food and start giving him shit. Because I don't even know if it's the same person or not. But anyway, Mike, in this case, a few days, I think, after he got released and got his court date set up, he starts being followed by people, right? He starts being followed by people, and he starts having a problem with it, started to ask people why they think this is okay. And the ball's on this motherfucker, right? This dude followed people outside of the church yelling at them, and now he's being followed and he has a problem with it? Really? That's not even a double standard. That's a fucking like quadruple standard at that fucking point. Like, really, you have a problem with being followed, but you had no problem following these people into their church, then following back out to give them more shit? You're actually the biggest piece of fucking trash. If you have what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? Did you think people weren't going to start following you and asking why the fuck you did what you did? And then you have the gall to act like it's wrong when you did it too? You have no fucking room to stand. You have no place to stand on this, dude. Fucking Mike. Are you serious? Are we being serious right now? Like, this ain't the fucking playground where you can go tell a teacher that somebody did bad when you did the same fucking thing. No, this is real fucking life, and there's real fucking consequences. If you do something that's monstrous and horrible and makes you out to be a piece of shit, prepare to be treated the same way you treated the people that you victimized. Okay? Then we got Don Lemon. Don motherfucking Lemon. Probably the worst addition to the black community I've ever seen in my fucking life. And the reason he is because everything he blames, like he does wrong, the blames on white supremacy, religion. People practicing religion is white supremacy, despite the fact that several other races practice religion. And to go nice going with that sentence, dumb fuck. But anyway, he doesn't get charged. Don Lemon does not get charged because he is seen as a journalist. Here's my question. If you take part in a protest and you do not report the fact that people are breaking laws while in this protest, should you not get arrested as well? And here's the reason I say this, because it is every American's duty to report wrongdoing. Wrongdoing. Wow, I'm on point tonight. Wrongdoing is every American's right to report any wrongdoing. Doesn't matter if it's, it doesn't matter. I don't even know why I'm trying to find another sentence to put it. It doesn't matter. It's every American's duty to report any wrongdoing. And the fact that Don Lemon let this happen and didn't inform the authorities it was happening, like, even if the cops are doing nothing, even the cops are doing fucking nothing, if he had just made a phone call, it pretty much would be fine. Because then you could say, hey, Don Lemon actually called the police and they did nothing, so it's really the police's fault. But he didn't call the fucking police. He interviewed the leader of the fucking protest, and not only that, but he made some wild fucking claims that pretty much just it's scary to think about. Like, there's a person spreading this kind of misinformation. He basically said, like, one of the things he said was, like, protesting was a way to spread fear. And that's what it's about. No, it's not about fear when you protest. It's about finding something that you find personally fucked up, finding a group of people who think that same thing, and then protesting against it. It's not about spreading fear. It's not about fear-mongering at all. What the fuck are you even talking about, Don Lemon? Like, Jesus Christ, dude. You know what we call that? We call that fucking Nazi talk. Where I'm from. We call that fucking privilege where I'm fucking from. It's like, Jesus Christ. Protesting is for spreading fear. The fuck are you on? God damn. This is basic shit, too. This isn't even like fucking high school level. This is like grade school. This is like elementary. You learn the rights that Americans have pretty fucking early. So the fact that he's purposely misrepresenting the right to protest and saying it's a way to spread fear is horrifying. And then, of course, he gets called out on these things, and he says it's all white supremacists. Like, all his critics, white supremacists. The protesting is free? Well, that's a white supremacist idea. Not everything could be because of white supremacy. Okay, when you say stupid shit, it's because you say stupid shit. It ain't because a white supremacist made you fucking say it. It's because you say that shit because you're a fucking idiot. Because you don't really have an excuse, Don Lemon. You don't really have an excuse for saying that stupid shit. Like, no wonder you were fucking... Like, you were fucking kicked off of CNN. You're so crazy, they don't even fucking want you. Are you serious? The people who lie constantly to millions of Americans every fucking day don't even want your ass. How does that fucking feel? And you say, oh, I quit or whatever. How gullible do you think people are to believe that you just quit a fucking job in one of the biggest news stations in the fucking country? Jesus Christ. Oh, I just want to be investigative. I just wanted to be an independent journalist. No, you fucking didn't. You had one of the biggest jobs during the you had one of the biggest jobs at CNN. You were one of the hosts, one of the fucking newscasters. Are you serious? People aren't stupid. You quit because you became a liability to them. You know, they don't really need help in that department, to be fair. But that's the thing. You're so fucking nuts off your fucking rocker. You don't even... The CNN didn't even fucking want you. You had to say you quit to save face. Jesus Christ. So what's the point of this rant? Probably horribly misinformed rant. We need to stop making it about left versus right. What happened at that church is horrifying, it's horrible, and it was a basic violation and raping of human rights. Regardless of your stance on ICE or whatever, that fact means true that what happened at that church was horrible. And everybody and their fucking every Democrat is like, it's not that bad, guys. It is that fucking bad. You wanna know why it's that fucking bad, Democrats? Because you basically broke a law meant to push back against the most racist people mankind has ever fucking known in their goddamn lives. There's a reason it's called the Ku Klux Klan Act, folks. It ain't because it's fucking pushing back against anybody else but them. And it's not just them it pertains to. So when those protesters actually went in there and intimidated and yelled at and basically broke the right to freedom of religion, you guys became, the protesters there basically became as bad as the Ku Klux Klan. I'm not even fucking kidding. Because guess why that law, because again, guess why the law is called that? Because that's exactly what the Ku Klux Klan was planning on doing to every church with African Americans in it back in 1870 fucking one. It's fucking, yeah. And they call people like me racist and Nazi. Are you serious? I don't even let it affect me anymore, but Jesus Christ. The level of copium you guys must have to fucking suck down in order to, continue with the illusion that you're not just a racist, non-tolerant fucking piece of shit must be enormous. But anyway, that's going to be the video for today. I hope you guys had a good time watching it. I would be celebrating my 3rd subscriber, but I guess one of you decided to unsubscribe. Might be the message to return a Good's wife video, to be fair. I was a little cruel in that one. Doesn't mean it's not deserved, but I could have worded it better, and I could have been a little less cursy. So... But anyway, if you guys liked the video... Oh, before I forget, there are actually a couple people I do argue with on YouTube. Obviously, my comments get pushed back further down the thing, but there's one called Steve Hofstetter, who I particularly do not like, but he recently had a child, and I just want to say to you, Steve, even though we don't agree on a lot of shit, and I don't even know if you know I exist, but congrats on the new baby, man. I hope I hope she grows up, nice and healthy for you. And also, don't go too hard on the boys when she grows older. Trust me, I had a little cousin I helped raise for a few years, and she got to that point, and there's boys trying to come over to see her whenever I babysit her, and she wasn't my kid, but holy shit, that urge to beat their ass came up quick. So, just take it a little easier on them, huh? Once she gets older. But anyway, Congrats on the baby, Steve. You know, like I said, hope she grows up healthy. And if you guys like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. The more people we subscribe, the more people we reach out to, and the more likes we get, the more YouTube notices that there might be a rising star in the ranks. Yes, I am humble. Thank you. I actually am. I only have 2 subscribers, so I'm not on that power trip yet. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.